say how amazed I am by Plamen. He predicted rain today.
Oh.
It was all raining. And it's good because everyone's in here and not outside, so that's pretty perfect. What I wanted to say about Middle East Venture Partners is very different than what we heard from Manu Gupta in Europe and Emre in Istanbul. It's very, very different. It's much smaller. By the way, I need this thing. It's much smaller on any perspective. But so I'm going to tell you a bit about the Arab world and a bit about what we do in the Middle East. I don't know if you can read this slide. It's quite small. By the way, somebody has to reset the timer.
Yeah, it's going off on a life of its own. I've got it here.
I'm already at -2 minutes. All right. So the stats are encouraging. That's why we're investing in the Arab world. The whole population is about 300 million, a bit less than the US population. But the growth is massive. Internet penetration is really high. A couple of numbers here. The youth between 15 and 29 years old, that's about 30% of the population. Most of them are internet users. This makes about 120 million internet users and 70 million smartphone device users. That's a massive number, and both are growing really, really, really quickly. In terms of investments, it's also very small. The average angel investment is, I would say, between $50,000 and $150,000. The average VC investment is probably somewhere around $500,000. Habib might confirm this. The other encouraging metric I heard from Manu Gupta again is $130. That's the average basket for fashion purchases in GCC or Dubai in particular, right? So high purchasing power in GCC and masses. Now the unfortunate matter is that bankable people in the Middle East, the number is quite low, and few of them have credit cards, and even fewer of them have credit cards that can work online. So the numbers are really tiny. Therefore, the really particularity of the Middle East is a scratch card. You go to a shop, you scratch a card, that's a card that you can use online, and it's a prepaid card. But still, everything else is encouraging from the demographics and everything I mentioned earlier. Now, from a VC perspective, there's an opportunity there. That's why we're a venture capital firm, and we're really investing. We're very happy with the little competition. It's too bad for the entrepreneurs, but there are maybe 4 VCs in Jordan, a couple in Lebanon. In Dubai, you'll find 1 or 2, and Egypt, a couple, and that's it. That's about it. I see an opportunity, by the way, in Turkey. I've heard there's less than 10 VCs that are active in Istanbul. So we might get interested in investing in Turkey, but we're not ready now. So after I finish this panel, please do not come for funding because we're not able to invest in Turkey for the time being. I was here last year at Webit, and I mentioned the same. So hopefully by March next year, we'd have raised our next fund, which is 2 funds, 40 and 20. That's $60 million, and hopefully we'll be able to invest in Turkey. For the time being, the whole funds under management are 17 million, out of which we've invested $12 million in 17 companies. So the average check is around $600,000. Early stage, Beirut, Amman, Dubai, and somehow global with Arab entrepreneurs. So we have a company in Hong Kong, another in Paris, etc., etc. What else can I say about Middle East Venture Partners? We're a really, really small team, 5 people, and we're very happy with the current performance of our portfolio. Hopefully we'll have a few exits soon. For the time being, we've done 5 up rounds with institutional investors from GCC in our companies, but we've been around for 3 years, so we're a tiny fund, tiny structure, and very, very nascent, very young, I would say. Let me tell you a bit more about our mandate and a couple of words on what we've invested in so far. So I already mentioned all of these geography focus. tickets between 200 to 1.5 million. Timeline. We started in 2010, invested in 17 companies across the ICT spectrum. By the way, we're not only focused on ICT, but we've done a couple out of 17 that are not related to internet and mobile. We focus on high growth sectors, so we've done gaming, music streaming, electronic payments, a couple of e-commerce plays, and content portals. Okay, we favor co-investments. So you can see from the list that, our preferred core investors are GCC-based groups. And we've done, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 co-investments so far. That's our preferred model, really. We're more and more looking to co-investing with European VCs or US. We went to US, but they're not really interested in MENA. That's too bad. But European VCs are interested more and more. But for the time being, it's media groups, it's telcos, it's banks, and venture capitalists that have already co-invested with us. All right, that's a slide on the M&A transactions that we've witnessed in the Middle East. The number is small, the tickets are small, it's all small, but growing really fast. But it's encouraging. There are more and more M&A activity in the Middle East. All right, that's an example of a company we've invested in. Unlike Lakestar, we love copycats. Sorry about that. We would love to invest in disruptive business models and billion-dollar companies or wannabe billion-dollar companies. But objectively, that's not what we're going to find in the Middle East. We're always hopeful, but so far we only found copycats with a smart way to localize and adapt to the local culture. So one thing in common throughout the Middle East, I would say, MENA, or the Arab world, is language and culture, okay? So basically, a guy in Yemen or Saudi Arabia would listen to the same music and watch the same videos as a girl in Morocco or Tunisia. So that's one thing in common, really, language and the entertainment. So that's why we kind of focused on similar content. Now, of course, our market in some of the companies is global. Arabic music, for example, is listened to in the US by Arab expats and in Brazil by Lebanese nationals, etc. But most of the companies we invest in have a main market being MENA, not global, unfortunately. Next step would be global, most probably. So in terms of music streaming, this is a copycat of Spotify and Deezer, and it's growing really well. We have about 3.7 million downloads so far. Conversion is a bit low, but growing really fast. Shahiyya means appetite. I'm just going to give 3-4 examples here out of 17. It's appetite. It's the equivalent of all recipes in the US, so it's user-generated recipes, growing organically really fast, and it's the number 1. So in terms of music streaming and Shahiyya, we are the market leader in MENA. Luxury closet, okay, that's close to be a market leader, most probably. It's high-end fashion, so it's e-commerce, but it's high-end luxury bags. So those Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Dior second-hand bags that you have, you can sell them over the luxury closet. Average ticket size there is more than $1,000. Gross margin is really healthy. The model really works. There is a lot of appetite for second-hand bags in the Middle East. Sorry, okay, this is interesting. $20 million revenue this year, actually, 2013. They sell books on Amazon. They're just resellers of books. Margins is pretty healthy. They're based out of Beirut, so most companies we invest in are either in Amman, Beirut, or Dubai. They succeeded in growing this company in 3 years to become a $20 million revenue company. Next year it's going to be $40 million. So very encouraging for the Middle East. All right, payment gateway. This is a middleman. As I mentioned, one of the particularity of the Middle East is that credit card penetration is really low. So it's about scratch cards mostly, and PayPal somehow. So Gate2Play, what they do is they act as a middleman between between those scratch cards and those virtual merchants. So if you have a website and wanting to sell something in the Middle East that's online, you'd probably want to integrate with Gate2Play in order to be able to get those 15 payment methods that they centralize on their gateway. All those scratch card, Ucash, Cashew, OneCard, FilzPay from across the MENA. All right, that's an enterprise software. We don't usually...
I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up.
We're done?
Yeah, you're done, I'm afraid. We can't go through them all.
All right, let me just... All right, we also invested in a shawarma chain. That's the funny part. Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry, Walid.